Joining us now, Democratic Congressman David Cicilline of Rhode Island. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. We have the text of a draft of your article of impeachment. What specifically are you charging the president with, and why is this not happening until next week? I mean, there are only 12 days left in the administration.
So this is an article of impeachment that I've worked on with Congressman Ted Lieu and Congressman Jamie Raskin, and we include a single article, incitement of insurrection, which really focuses on the president's efforts to really disrupt or have his supporters disrupt a sacred proceeding of the Electoral College by promoting this lie that he won the election by millions of votes and it's been stolen from him. That morning he met with these protesters, again said you need to show strength, you need to march to Capitol Hill, a lot of incendiary language. And it was really inevitable. You know, you propagate this lie long enough and you create the impression in people that in fact the election was stolen, and violence ensued. They breached the Capitol. They destroyed property. 5 people, including a Capitol police officer, have died. This was an effort to undermine our democracy by stopping the Electoral College, where the voices of the American people, what they decide in their vote, is formalized into the election of the President of the United States. They tried to stop that. It was a coup to try to keep President Trump in power. And we just can't simply say, you know what, let's just wait 12 days, he'll be gone. We have a responsibility to hold him accountable. We took an oath, and our framers gave us one mechanism to impose a punishment on a president who engages in this behavior, and that's impeachment. We can do this by way of a privileged resolution. When we're meeting in pro form on Monday, we can introduce it. Then the leadership will decide whether or not we will take it up and whether they will call us back into session. But we first have called on the president to resign. Second, we've called on the vice president to invoke the 25th Amendment. If those two things do not happen, the only way we can hold him accountable and remove this dangerous man from office is to, in fact, impeach him.
Congressman, President-elect Biden is not taking a position on this. Would you like him to be more supportive?
No, look, I think it is absolutely right that President Biden is completely focused on preparing the COVID response package, preparing an economic recovery package. He is inheriting huge challenges as a result of the gross mismanagement and incompetence and corruption of this president. We want the new president to stay very focused on the work that lies ahead, and he's right. We need to be ready to hit the ground running. It's on us, members of Congress, to fulfill our responsibilities, to hold this president accountable, and to protect our democracy. This was an effort by thugs and criminals to overrun the nation's capital and disrupt this important proceeding in which our president was elected. We cannot allow that to stand without the individuals being held accountable. Everyone who's involved in it, the president on down, and impeachment is the only mechanism that we have available to us as members of the House.
Let's talk about some other matters from today. Congressman, Speaker Pelosi announced today that she felt the need to talk to the Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman, General Milley, about the president's access to the nuclear codes. I wonder if that's wise to announce to the world that she had that conversation. I certainly understand why she had the conversation, but why let American enemies know about this period of instability, that it's even worse than maybe it appears from abroad?
Well, I think it was important for the American people to hear the reassurance of Mr. Milley about his oath to the Constitution and to the law and not to an individual. So I don't want to speak for the Speaker of the House, but I presume it was so that the American people could be reassured that some of the anxiety that they have is dissipated by the assurances from our military leaders that they will honor their oaths and follow the Constitution.
Congressman, I want to play for you some sound from one of your colleagues, Congressman Mo Brooks of Alabama. This is him at that rally speaking to the mob before it became the domestic terrorist attack, before it became the insurrection. Take a listen.
Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
Congressman, should there be repercussions for your colleagues who played a role in inciting this terrorist attack?
I think there should be consequences for every single person who played any role in inciting this terrorist attack on our Capitol and the disruption of the proceedings to elect our new president.
Including Mo Brooks?
Not in addition to those statements, remember, after blood was shed in the Capitol of the United States, many members of the Republican Party continued to support this completely fraudulent claim that somehow the election was stolen and voted to disqualify or discount elections, votes cast from
But
several
what consequences? You're the majority. I mean, should they not be allowed to serve on committees? Should they not be allowed to participate as normal members of Congress? I mean, there are plenty of Republicans who were not part of this sham, Congressman Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, et cetera. I mean, what consequences should there be for the Mo Brookses of the world?
Well, I think there has to be a thorough review, a complete investigation of all of the circumstances that led up to the assault on our Capitol and the attack by these individuals. And that's going to require a very careful review of the conduct of many individuals. And I think we have to do a complete review. And anyone who was responsible for inciting this, who contributed in any way to the violence that ensued at the Capitol, must be held accountable according to the laws of our country.
All right, Congressman Cicilline, Rhode Island, thank you so much. Appreciate your time today, sir. Have a good weekend.